Are you ready to learn more about how you can build an awesome customer service experience today on Salesforce? My name is LeeAnne Rimel, and I'm here with Expert Corner, where I sit down with Salesforce product experts and learn more about the products that they're building for you, our Salesforce admin. Today, I'm sitting down with Ruchi Kumar. She's a product manager with Service Cloud, and she's been building out Salesforce Incident Management, which is tooling that allows you, the Salesforce admin, to build features and best practices around how to manage large-scale customer service incidents, things like outages or maybe delivery shortages. So we're going to learn more about those features from her today and how you can get hands-on. Before we get started, please make sure to take a look at our forward-looking statement and make all purchasing decisions based on currently available technology. Let's get started. Hi, Ruchi. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, LeeAnne. Thanks so much for having me.
So we're really excited to have you on today. Many of our audience that's listening are Salesforce admins. Some of them might be experienced admins. Some are newer admins. And this is a really exciting chance for them to get to know you and more about the products that you work on. So first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at Salesforce, a little bit about your background?
Yeah, happy to. I'm originally from the Midwest, and over the last 8 to 10 years, I've had experience working as a PM at startups, in mid-sized enterprise financial companies, and large consumer tech companies. But I joined Salesforce about a year and a half ago, where I've been a PM on Service Cloud the entire time. And I cover a lot of our tried and true agent productivity products like case management, macros, and quick text. And I previously worked on a product that made it easy for admins like those joining in here to get started with an out-of-the-box pre-configured service app. But what I've been most recently working on, and I'm very excited to be talking about it today, is a product that helps customer service teams manage outages or large-scale incidents that affect a large number of their end users.
So that's really exciting. So first of all, welcome to Salesforce. We're so excited to have you here. And you mentioned this Service Cloud product that you're on, the features that you're working on. Can you tell us, kind of the breadth of what you're working on with Service Cloud, and then we'll dive into specifically incident management?
Yeah. So I cover what we call our core Service Cloud features. So think of it as web to case management, macros, quick text, actions and recommendations component. Think of all the things that your agents use every day to work on. And then at the same time, when you're a PM at Service Cloud or in Salesforce, you're also working on new initiatives to help our customers. And so in the past, I worked on the initiative called Service Setup Assistant that got you set up with an out-of-the-box service app. And that was our new initiative to make Service Cloud easier to use for our customers. And now I'm working on this initiative, which is around how to manage large-scale incidents. So that can give you kind of an idea of the breadth of the areas that I cover. And so you might see my face when I'm talking about, legacy or older products, as well as when I'm talking about new initiatives like today.
So this new initiative today that we're going to talk about, and thank you for giving that background. I think it's just awesome when admins know more about, what PMs have worked on, maybe different features and products that are near and dear to their hearts or that they've worked on and implemented. So we're here today, though, to talk about incident management. So can you tell us a little bit more about what is Salesforce Incident Management and what are some of those things that you've been working on recently?
Yeah. So I've been working on a product called Customer Service Incident Management, which makes it easy for your teams to resolve mission-critical issues faster and build customer trust in the moments that matter most on our #1 service delivery platform. And so we're really excited to be talking to you about this product because we've gotten a ton of traction from the market about it. And one thing I need to, shout from the rooftops is that this is a free product. So it comes available to anyone who has Service Cloud. And to kind of give you the background of why we're even building this product, I'd love to share some of the trends I've seen over the past year and a half in the market. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, so we've seen 2 trends over the past year and a half as we've all battled this pandemic and the shelter in place. So one is more and more companies are bringing their businesses online. And the second is companies have more employees that are working remotely, like you and myself at this moment. So these two trends create inevitable scenarios that Service Cloud and my team is looking to solve. The first is, with more businesses online, there's more of a higher chance of service disruptions or system going out. And the second is, with more employees working from home, this requires multiple teams across different organizations like service, ops, and engineering to collaborate together. And with them being remote, it can take longer to resolve an issue that's affecting a lot of your customers, and it can create a lot of internal stress amongst your employees. And so this essentially means that employees are not, and your teams are not able to solve incidents that are happening more and more often fast enough to meet your customer's expectation. And I'll just throw out one stat for you that 90% of customers of a company say that how a company acts during a crisis really reveals its trustworthiness. And so with all these data points and macroeconomic factors in mind, we decided to help our Trailblazer community manage and resolve incidents faster for free, once again, with Service Cloud Incident Management. And this product essentially introduces 3 object-based data models based off industry best practices to help your teams work in a unified workplace, and again, collaborate and resolve those large-scale outages faster to meet your customers' expectations.
Wow, that's really exciting. I think, you mentioned something that's so important that really all of our admins should have on their mind, regardless of if they're working on Service Cloud or Sales Cloud or Platform. And that's, this shift we've seen in how our customers work and how our employees and our colleagues work over the last 2 years. So, really leaning into service is one of the ways, we've talked a lot about the different ways that technology experts and admins need to adapt, right, during this major technological shift. And, you really just highlighted such an important part of that for our customers, which is that their customers, have these expectations around customer, around trust in order to build customer loyalty. And Salesforce admins are really often on the front lines of implementing the tools that are going to help us build that customer loyalty, right? So I think that's, it sounds like such an important feature, such an important part of the product. I know our Service Cloud admins out there that are listening are probably really excited to hear that it's free, included within your Service Cloud licensing today. Tell us a little bit more about, kind of the nitty gritty of incident management. And I'd love to hear more about what are some of those, best practices that you learned in your research for this? And what did some of that research look like? Like, where are you getting these best practices from? Just so our admins that are implementing it can, really know where those recommendations are coming from.
Yeah, so the research entailed us talking to the Trailblazer communities, such as the admins that are joining today, to better understand what are their use cases and where can Service Cloud help them do their business better. And so we spoke to customers in various industries: retail, financial, high tech, insurance, the whole gamut. And we understood that they have these different ideas of what they call incident. It could be, if you're a financial company, it could be that some system goes down. But if you're an insurance company, it could be that there's a big weather alert, and so you're going to have a lot of claims. Or for manufacturing, it could be a product recall. Or for a utility, it could be a power line going down. And so whatever those instances are, we've heard from customers that they wanted to do more beyond the case object to manage that incident or large scale outage, because that's, higher priority because it's affecting numerous customers as opposed to just a one-off issue for one customer. And so with that, we took in these best practices from this framework called ITIL. It's an industry best practice about how to manage an outage. And it's really applied to the world of high tech, but it can now be applied to other industries. And what that means is that there's 3 phases of an incident. So first is you actually realize the incident is occurring. It's not just a one-off case, it's a bigger issue. The second is you investigate the root cause. We call that the problem phase. And so you look at your systems that might be down, you see who are the customers impacted. Do they all, have a similar background or scenario that's leading to this? And the last is fixing the issue and deploying the change. And we call this our change request object without degrading any of the current services that are online. And so managing all of that and auditing that is what we put into the product itself. And then the last part I'll say when it comes to research is we're hoping to learn from you all who try out the product and provide your feedback. We're continuously iterating on this, and we have a very lengthy and exciting roadmap. And so our research process never ends. And we really appreciate the feedback from our community.
Awesome. I love hearing about that. I think it's so important. Those of you admins that are listening that might be newer to our community or newer to kind of engaging with our technical content, your feedback is super, super important. You heard it here first. Product managers like Ruchi are really listening to that feedback and incorporating it into the product. So just going to use this little plug here to ask everyone to give us feedback. I think it's so important. It's such an important part of our product development lifecycle is that continuous loop of communication and feedback. So this is really exciting. We've got, best practices kind of baked into Service Cloud now for Service Cloud admins out there to start implementing, to get hands-on with and roll out so their companies can really stay on top of incidents and stay on top of incident management. We have a lot of Salesforce admins, and I hope you're still on the line, Salesforce admins who are not Service Cloud admins. We have a lot of Service Cloud or Salesforce admins who are, really a lot more familiar with Sales Cloud or with Platform, and maybe they don't identify or see themselves as a Service Cloud admin yet. Something we've seen a lot is just the growth of service, as you talked about with some of those market trends, the industry trends, that service is just becoming more and more important for every single customer or every single company with their customers. So what do you think that means for the Salesforce admins out there that maybe aren't, in Service Cloud yet? Maybe they don't have proficiencies in Service Cloud yet, or they haven't needed to use it yet. Do you have any advice for those admins out there?
Yeah, I would tell those admins that using Service Cloud is more important than ever, and it will really help you deliver value to your stakeholders within your organization. As customer service really sets a business apart from their competitors. So Service Cloud can help you make people loyal to your brand, products, services for years to come. And I'll throw out one more stat for you, which is that 77% of customers say that they're more loyal to businesses that offer top-notch service. So if you are an admin that's working on Sales Cloud, the good news is Service Cloud capabilities are free to you to some extent. So there really shouldn't be a barrier to at least try it out and see how you can best configure it for your org's needs. The other point I'll mention is that Salesforce is really working on unifying our products so they have the same design standards, the same tech standards. So if you're really familiar working with Sales Cloud or with the platform, it should be really easy for you to adopt and configure and understand Service Cloud because it's the same framework. So it makes it easier for you as an admin to deliver more value faster and easier for your teams to get up and ready and ramped up on Service Cloud if they use other Salesforce products.
I remember about 10 years ago, we used to say that everyone who worked at a company was in sales. No matter what your role was, you sort of had to think like you were in sales. We all had to be selling, mentally for that company and be thinking of ourselves as kind of spokespeople for a company. And I feel like really that's shifted to service. Like no matter what your role, we're all kind of in customer service roles as we see customer loyalty becomes more and more important, and building trust with customers is more and more important. So Salesforce admins out there, if you haven't dipped your toe into Service Cloud yet or started learning about some of this functionality, it's a really great time to add that to your repertoire of Salesforce skills, because this is something that we are seeing Service Cloud customers grow. We're seeing customers across the platform implement more Service Cloud functionality. So like Ruchi's saying, this is a great time to go get hands-on with Service Cloud. So before we finish up, I do want to ask, is there any more exciting things coming in the future? Maybe some roadmap items you can share with us? Our admins love hearing about, sneak peeks and roadmap items.
Yeah, I would love to give you all a sneak peek. So touching on what I had mentioned on those macroeconomic trends of remote work, we're continuing to build on that and allowing our customers to work better remotely. And so for those of you that are not familiar, Salesforce recently acquired Slack, and we're really working to create and build a Slack integration with our incident management solution. So we're making it easier for you from an incident to collaborate with other members of your team all over Slack, where Slack is that system of collaboration and that system of engagement, whereas Salesforce will continue to be that system of record and trusted data integrity so that you can, again, manage and resolve incidents faster and have more internal employee well-being with the power of Slack and Salesforce.
Well, it's really exciting. It sounds like it's definitely a good time to get hands-on with Service Cloud. So for our admins that are on the video that are, interested in learning more, diving in, getting hands-on with some of these best practices in Service Cloud that you told us about with incident management, what's the best place for admins to go?
Yeah, I would say there's 3 areas. First is our tried and true Trailblazer community. So feel free to post questions on there. I am always active answering questions and want to hear from our market. The second I will say is Trailhead. So we do have a Trailhead module that you can look into, get more familiarity with our incident management product alongside all the other great modules that are there so that you can feel ready to configure and get started. And then when you do feel ready, the third area are our help docs, which make it really easy for you to get set up and use incident management for your organization based off our idea of industry best practices.
And don't worry if you didn't get all those written down, they will all be linked in the show notes. Well, that wraps us up for content today. Thank you so much for joining. I know I'm excited to go get hands-on with incident management, and I really appreciate you giving this deep dive for our Salesforce admins.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say a shout out and thank you to all the admins listening in. You are such a big part of our Trailblazer community, and you really help us make our product better every day.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.
Bye.
That was so illuminating. I think it's so important for admins to keep in mind how big customer service is getting for all of our companies and how important it is to build that customer loyalty relationship no matter what industry you're in. I hope you get hands-on with Salesforce Incident Management and let us know how you liked it. If you have any feedback or questions, like Ruchi mentioned, jump into that Trailblazer community. All of the links will be available in the show notes. That's all for our content today. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Expert Corner. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a video like this. And you can find this video as well as tons of other Service Cloud and admin content at admin.salesforce.com, where we build content just for you, our Salesforce admins. Thanks for joining, and I will see you next time.